I got a partner. We looked at a couple properties and we bought our first. So I'm telling you, I went from just my own personal buying and owning my own real estate to thinking about, wait a second, what if I started investing in other real estate? That was a shift, right? And started to see, wait a sec, I could leverage other real estate to both produce cash flow, appreciating asset, tax depreciation. But guys, I found one other partner. We raised a little capital, closed on our first vacation rental place, and we started promoting it and putting it on all the sites, and it was unbelievable. I thought if we got a few bookings, this would be so amazing, and it just started booking up like crazy. So after 1 year, we saw the cash flow, put a little additional capital in, like our tax refund. Everybody's like, I'm getting a new TV. I'm like, I'm getting a new rental, And so you're just like, oh, I'm discovering how to do this, right? And you're building a cleaning team and your maintenance team, and you're figuring it all out. And so we got two, and then the next year we bought the third one, and then we leveraged those kind of vacation rentals, which were cash flowing year after year, into starting to buy more duplexes in Omaha. And now it's my joy, because we've got multiple units producing cash flow, to hang out with guys like Steve and you and say, how do we land some of these bigger commercial deals that are really, really awesome and have tremendous upside.
Welcome to Heading West, a not-so-serious podcast where we talk about life, business, real estate, and our personal journeys as we head west. On today's episode, we have Chris Hruska, president of Citylight Family, pastor of Citylight Church, and CEO of James 117 Properties. Steve, I'm pretty sure we laughed more than we actually talked on this podcast.
If my stomach says anything, I feel like I've been doing crunches for the last 30 minutes laughing at the stories that Chris was telling us.
Yeah, I hope it's legible. I hope people can understand through the laughter what we were talking about. But one of the things I love about Chris, and we briefly talk about in the episode, is that he's often jokes from the pulpit that he once failed a class in college called Succeeding in College. Yet, here he is leading one of the fastest growing churches in America and successfully investing in real estate. I mean, it's an incredible story from nothing to something.
And what I love about Chris also is that he is real.
Yeah.
And we're all doing life together, and it's awesome being around somebody that can be so real.
Yeah. All right, should we just get into it and head west?
Let's go.
All right, stay tuned as we discuss overcoming fear, how to find a partner in real estate, and going from failing in college to leading one of the fastest growing churches in America with our guest, Chris Hruska. So you just spent the day in a leaders meeting for church, is that correct?
Yeah, man. We had some of our top pastors and leading women at Steve's barn hanging out, dreaming. We always do this quarterly thing where we pull away, we evaluate, and then we kind of do the focus. We call it a focus 5, where we say, what are the big 5 things we want to get knocked out in the next 90 days? And it just gives us a little direction to say, are we doing more than just going through the motions? Are we being proactive to build something? So it's just been a good rhythm to keep us all aligned as a team. So that's what we're doing. We are whiteboarding, dreaming, praying, goal setting. You guys know how it is. We ate barbecue at Rick's Meats on 204th and Elkhorn. So bro, I didn't know what to expect, but you can get a lot of meat in there for $6 every week.
If all you got from that meeting is food, it was a win.
Total win. You guys know what team eats together, everybody leaves happy. So
yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
How big is the leadership team?
We have 5 paid pastors, and then we had 2 what we call leading women in the church that join us to give voice to some things. So it was just great to get them around the table.
Yeah. Do you ever just stop and think, how in the world am I leading one of the fastest growing churches in America? Like you're in that planning meeting and you're like, we're making a huge impact. This is not a congregation of 20 people. This is one of the fastest growing in the country.
Yeah.
Did that ever just strike you?
No, yes, 100%. And I think I've talked to Steve and you guys about this. Like, this is the most unexpected story. I mean, me and a buddy team up. I'm 28, 29. my previous resume is I went to Wayne State College because I had failed my ACT. It literally said failed, and then got there and failed a class called Succeed in College. Like, you're just trying to mess up your life at that point. Like, you can't pass a school, easy freshman class. And so, all that to say is to see really God's faithfulness on my life, and what he was able to do, and the story he's able to write. It's just been absolutely a joy. And then the people you get to meet along the way, and the team that gets built, and it's gone way further than I could have ever expected. So yeah, 100%.
You think they'd put that class before you got to college, not when you're in college.
In high school, like, this is how you're going to win in the next, that
Yeah,
life. So
yeah.
yeah, it's been
They
real fun.
they want to take your money and get you in the door, take your money, and then tell you you're failing.
You're failing at life. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody, your listeners might get this, but like, just the awkward moment with mom, like, how did freshman year go? Well, I might academic probation. Like, let's just keep it
Yeah.
100% real. It's been, I think I've been just shocked and awed by what God can do with very simple people. So it's been really, really fun.
Well, if you're in good company, I got a 1.53 my first semester in college.
Yes. It happened.
Pre-med, joined a fraternity. Yeah, did everything I could to screw up my college career. And thankfully, by God's grace, got 3.7s, 3.8s, for most of the second half. And I was able to pull that nosedive up before it hit the ground.
Jake, you're trying
I can tell you.
nice right now, but let's just keep it real. You were taking like pre-med, but and like anatomy, you were taking physiology, you were taking chemistry classes. I was taking succeeding in college. So like, I don't
Okay, all right.
same level right now, bro.
Yeah.
Throw me a bone. But like,
I was trying though.
yeah, that's awesome. This is fun.
When you talk about school and grades, I figured out how to get great grades. My freshman, sophomore, junior year, I played baseball in a fraternity, and my grades were kind of like this. My senior year, I married my wife's senior, my junior year, because I switched degrees. She graduated earlier. I got a degree. She got a degree, and we got married. My grades went like this.
Come on.
And my last year and a half, I had a 3.8 GPA in mechanical engineering.
Come on.
And
Wow.
hold on. I graduated with a 2.33.
Come on.
So
Wow.
So if you talk about the last year and a half at a 3.8,
Yeah.
what was the first 3 years GPA?
Yes.
Chris, rock on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Doing life. Hey, we're doing life.
That's right.
Doing life.
There's something about that responsibility when you realize there's a lot on the line here, and I'm a little bit accountable to this other person, and my home life is getting impacted by my classroom life. Brother might get motivated.
Yeah. So what was yours? I'd love to hear what was that pivot point of, okay, I just failed a class that's supposed to be like they're giving you credits.
Yeah.
You fail it. What's that pivot point for you that you said, all right, I gotta figure this thing out, or else I might not end up where I want to be?
There's a couple things. That's a great question, man. And I will say there's a couple things. And one was I started realizing like some things happened in my personal home life, right? Mom, dad, all that stuff. And you start to look at your life like, this is kind of on me. Like, you're kind of just going through life, trying to play basketball, doing the sports, doing high school, going through and you're not really maybe aware as a young adult, like, I'm going to have to build something. Like, I'm kind of responsible for my life. And I started realizing like, this is going to go however it goes. And there's nobody that's going to build this thing for me. So I either need to get a skill and get some training and get some education so I can contribute. And by contributing, I can create some economic opportunities and provide for myself, But if I don't do that, there's no one else that's going to do that for me. Does it make any sense? Like I
Yeah.
realize
Yeah.
my mom's working, like she's a nurse. That's awesome. But there's no family business to go home to. There's no, I've got to build a life and I've got to start to equip and train. And then I think also, part of that journey was my faith. And just, there's some things where it just challenges you to be excellent in all areas of your life for a bigger purpose than yourself. And so I just said, okay, you know what? Like, this needs to impact what I do here in the classroom. It's not just something I do on Sunday. So there was a lot happening there, where discipline and responsibility and ownership all kind of needed to come together and say, it's not just about doing whatever feels fun in this moment. I've got to start actually disciplining my life to head in a unique direction. So, anyways, those are, and you have those moments. It's hard to have that with a young person. Like, you gotta wake up. Like, we're not just playing classroom here. Like, you're trying to build something so you can go somewhere. But that moment for me going into sophomore year, saying, if I don't dial this in, I'm mowing lawns, and that's nothing wrong with that. But like, if I want more than that, like, I've got to actually read some textbooks, So
yeah. Did you figure that out in time to graduate?
Yes, I did. And you know how it is. The same thing with you guys. Like, by the end of it, I'm like president of the largest organization on campus, passing my classes, speaking at the commencement. Like, it was the same kind of trajectory. But I think if you met me freshman year in high school, or college, you would have been like, he's not, he's going to be on somebody's couch real soon. Like that, but isn't that awesome? Like, just there's different stages of life and you kind of have to wake up. So anyways, thanks for asking that. Yeah.
Hey, Chris, are you the one that turned Wayne State into the Harvard of the Midwest?
He says it straight face too. He's serious.
For bringing that up. Man, being in Omaha, I just feel like everybody went to a cool school here. Like everybody went to Creighton or UNL, and they got these big university titles. And I'm happy for you guys. Like, I'm happy that you have that. For the rest of us who are like trying to get away with paying $6 for a credit hour, and like that's where we went. And so I just started to brand it. Like, I felt like if I just kept saying how unique and close it was and how powerful the education, like, I just called it the Harvard of the Midwest. It just kind of caught on, and now in our little community, it's a running joke that if you Creighton, if you couldn't get into Wayne, maybe you went to Creighton, So anyways, I'm trying to brand it, bro. I'm trying to rebrand it right now. So
hey, you're doing a great job.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, look at you now. That's pastor of one of the fastest growing churches in America.
Come on, man.
What would you attribute that to? I mean, all joking aside, we started talking about, you failed out of this class, you turned some things around, and in a matter of a couple years, really go from a small, tight-knit community of people in your church, as you're co-leading, to multiple campuses across the U.S. and a burgeoning church. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, Jake, thanks. I mean, again, like, for me, that college season was so pivotal, and that's why I still love what happens in young adults' lives between 18 and 22. I think you're starting to figure out your identity. What are you going to believe? Where truth is? What's your purpose? And for me, a lot of that came back to my faith. And then after that, I thought, you know what? I'll do business for a year, pay off some student loans, and spent the next 5 years doing college ministry. And I'll be honest with you guys, I just never had a vision to be a pastor. I just kind of come from a broken home. I broke a lot of the rules. And so I kept thinking to myself, being a pastor is for somebody who's like, comes from a, really religious background and was probably one of the good kids and never did some of the things that I did. And so I just had a lid on my own leadership. Can I just keep it real? I was like, that's never like, I'm not going to be that guy. And by 28, 29, God started to form in me a unique burden for the city, saying, hey, there's a new generation. If we don't plant new churches that's going to reach the next generation, that's going to be a problem. And so, I was just optimistic enough at 28 to team up with some friends, start praying and saying, God, could you use me? I don't know what I'm bringing to the table, but whatever it is, I'm bringing to the table. And I will say, I think you guys have discovered this by, we oftentimes put lids on our own levels of leadership, and we just think, I could never, I won't, I'm not the person, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable. And we just, you know what, I've learned to kind of blow through some of those and just say, maybe I'm not, but I also believe in a God that is, and I'm just crazy enough to think that maybe he will. And so honestly, I actually think that God gets more glory when he uses regular, ordinary, broken, unexpected people like me. And so I think that's been the whole story of Citylight, from a few people to thousands of people, to from one church to planting 14 churches across 5 states. That's been 10 years, and thousands and thousands of lives changed. And that's been what a joy it is to get a front row seat to watch God just flex and do what he does. So that's been really, really, really fun.
Isn't that just the case with God, that he loves to stack the cards against himself? If Chris is this saint, never did anything wrong, knows the Bible inside and out, it's like, okay, well, what glory is God going to get out of this situation? It's like, no. I need somebody who failed, who keeps biffing it, who keeps needing to rely on me, so that I get the glory, and so other people, and not for his own glory, but so other people can see how good God is.
Come on, man.
They get to see, man, they're using Chris.
Yes.
Using Chris and Gavin.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Anything's possible.
And I'm glad.
And he's a North High.
Yeah.
And he's a North High Viking.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, and I have some very unique high school photos. Okay. So it's from Omaha North. And then, like you said, my co-lead is Gavin Johnson, and everybody's like, he's so smart, and he's nice, and he's good at golf. He's from Waverly. He is from Water Tower and McDonald's. Like, these are not special guys. You got a kid from North Omaha, a kid from Waverly, preaching about Jesus, teaching the Bible. This is the weirdest group of people. I like rap music. He loves country music. I don't golf. He doesn't play basketball. It couldn't be any different. And yet somehow it's been a really cool thing. So, yeah.
It's amazing how God works.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Come on, man.
Putting people together. Amazing.
Yep. And this team right here, I want to Steve, I want to ask you a question. Like, you've accomplished so much in your professional career. I just want to ask you, like, how did you get to the point where you're like, hey, I've built businesses, I've scaled things, I've kind of got myself in a place of life where I can do what I want to do, and real estate is what I want to put my hand to the plow to in this season, Yeah,
Chris, it's funny that you talk about starting the church or starting businesses. The businesses that we started way back when we knew nothing about.
Yeah.
Every business we ended up selling, we started from scratch. All I know how is to start businesses and getting up and running, and it takes a leap of faith. It takes surrounding you with great people. And like our podcast, Head West, we use the term Head West. Take your first step in faith. You don't have all the answers. You don't have it figured out. Just get on God's journey and go. And just keep going, and you'll go left, you'll go right, up and down. We were talking about entrepreneurships. Every entrepreneur goes between I've made it, then the next week I'm failing, we're going out of business. The next week we made it, now we're doing okay. Oh, we're going out of business. That's the entrepreneur life. And even though I sold my business, I'm still, it's 35 years of taking that step, keep on going. So then I was in my side hustle was in real estate. And so while I was growing the businesses and to the point getting the right people running it, I was doing side hustle in real estate. And I always wanted, it was one of those things, I always wanted to be in real estate. But I was making quilt cutting machines. And so anyway, that's a different story.
Are you saying those aren't related? Quilting and real estate? There's no correlation there?
Chris, you talk about God and how things work out, and how God has a humor in what we're doing. I don't know. I'm in the quilting business, and because I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm making quilting fabric cutting machines. But things happen. But back into the real estate, it's just I was taking the side hustle. Now we're doing it full time.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun.
Come on.
So much fun.
Come on, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris, we were chatting a little bit earlier before this, and you had talked about your story about starting out in real estate where you had bought a home, I think you said 2010 for you and your wife.
Yeah.
And that really just tipped the first domino for all of the real estate investing you've done. Can you, and you kind of quickly went across, what that list of real estate deals are. Can you kind of walk through the progression of how you dipped your toe in and now you're fully like up to your eyes in real estate?
Yeah. You start to discover it along the way, right? So all I knew is when I got married to my wife, we were in ministry. We were looking at what does it cost to buy your first home for 3% down? And then what does it look like to rent a really nice apartment? I mean, everybody wants the stainless steel apartment from the start, You want to bring your in-laws in and be like, look what we got. We got a pool access. And so I remember thinking, babe, this is dumb. Like there's all frosting and nothing over here. Like we're just paying rent over here. Like this is just spinning wheels. Or we can buy this thing that looks like a hot mess and we can turn it into something, capture this capital and have ownership of it. Well, luckily she took a risk and said, you know what, let's buy our first place right away. Once we get married, we're stealing our money out of our wedding dollar dance fund. That first dollar, you're like, I got $3,000 from a wedding and we're buying a house, so that's what we did. And we just, I did the floors and the paint and you're doing I'm not that mechanical, but you just figure it out and you call in favors. And it was a really nice place after a couple of years. And then my buddy Gavin said, hey, would you move from Lincoln down to Omaha and help me start this brand new church? And again, my wife's pregnant. We have a baby on the way. We need healthcare. The church looks like probably 75% chance it's going to fail. Like you just, like could go really bad, man. Like I've read 3 books on church leadership. I don't have any idea what I'm doing. So luckily again, we sell that. We took that capital and we're able to buy a larger home, kind of a 4-bedroom home, needed the same thing. We said, we're going to buy a fixer upper. I'm going to flip it. And then you're starting to see, holy smokes, like if I evaluate how we've kind of grown net worth and wealth, it's primarily not been just by saving a few dollars every month in retirement. It's really actually been through real estate. And so now all of a sudden we get to that point where we sell that house and we made $100,000 in 3 years on that house. That set up me GCing my next house, which is what we live in now. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of paying somebody else to GC this thing. I'm getting my little nerdy spreadsheet out and I'm going to do it. And so we just did that. We built a house. And I remember in that time, I went on a vacation to Okoboji, Iowa, about 5 years ago. Okay.
The Ozarks of the Midwest.
The VRBO thing was big. And you're like, where do I take my wife and my 2 little kids? Like, I'm not going to Disney World or Hawaii. Like, we're going to go to Iowa. Like, that's where we're going, And so we go to Iowa and we rent this little place right in this really cool resort called Bridges Bay. And there's water parks and all this stuff for families. And I remember thinking to myself, somebody's getting paid and I'm renting this space and they could probably do this all the time. And I started doing the math in my head, like driving home from Okoboji, like, wait a sec. I spent $500 a night to stay in Iowa at a lake. Are you kidding me? Like I spent my mortgage on one weekend at this lake. What am I doing? And so then I had this thought, like, what if I buy one of these things? And so I got a partner. We looked at a couple properties and we bought our first. So I'm telling you, I went from just my own personal buying and owning my own real estate to thinking about, wait a second, what if I started investing in other real estate? That was a shift, right? And started to see, wait a second, I could leverage other real estate to both produce cash flow, appreciating asset, tax depreciation. But guys, I found one other partner. We raised a little capital, closed on our first vacation rental place, and we started promoting it and putting it on all the sites, and it was unbelievable. I thought if we got a few bookings, this would be so amazing. And it just started booking up like crazy. So after 1 year, we saw the cash flow, put a little additional capital in, like our tax refund. Everybody's like, I'm getting a new TV. I'm like, I'm getting a new rental, you know? And so you're just like, oh, I'm discovering how to do this, right? And you're building a cleaning team and your maintenance team and you're figuring it all out. And so we got two. And then the next year we bought the third one. And then we leveraged those kind of vacation rentals, which were cash flowing year after year, into starting to buy more duplexes in Omaha. And now it's my joy because we've got multiple units producing cash flow to hang out with guys like Steve and you and say, how do we land some of these bigger commercial deals that are really, really awesome and have tremendous upside? So that's been the journey from a couple, just basic VRBO vacation rentals, now some stabilizing long-term rentals, into some commercial projects that I get to be a part of. And what a blessing, man. I mean, I'm telling you, like, just to see it go from that first check, which I was terrified of. Can I just keep it real? Terrified. Sending $25,000 out the door for a lake house. Like, all your in-laws are like, what are you doing? Like, are you kidding me? This could go bad. And I'm trying to think to myself, what's going to happen when I tell my wife we lost all of our savings on a rental problem? All that to say, but I'm so thankful that small seed has become a big tree. And, looking back, whatever that was, almost 7-8 years ago, to see how much we've learned, the relationships that's been formed, the way it's built up momentum, the way it's shaped and grown us. Real estate is interesting because, I also want to talk about COVID. I mean, that happened. And remember, if you were in real estate, you're like, is anybody going to rent this again? Like, are people paying bills? Am I going to be stuck paying all these mortgages? And, it's all worked out. But I just want to say, like, it's been an awesome journey. God's used it to shape me, bless our family and others. And so, anyways, that's kind of our story of how we got into it.
Hey, Chris, your story getting into real estate, from people I come across, many of them are sitting there going, should I do it? Should I not do it? Oh, I'm scared. Kind of the same things that you went through. If you could talk to everybody on this podcast that were in your shoes 7-8 years ago, what would you tell them to do? What's that first step that you would get them to go down this building wealth with real estate?
That I appreciate you asking that, Steve. To me, there's so much fear. Does it make sense? So much fear in people. And it's whether it's self-doubt, whether it's like complex that they don't feel like they can understand it. Maybe they're just ashamed to ask questions. Like, maybe I want to learn, I want to grow, I'm willing to take the risk. I don't want to look embarrassed. Like, I don't know what I'm doing and I've got to ask somebody for help. What I've discovered, Steve, is just even coming to you. I've called you and asked you questions. Like, people who have some knowledge are so willing to share their knowledge base with you. People are willing to work with you and help you. If you're listening to this podcast, this is a great start. Like, part of it was listening to, Deeper Pockets, other podcasts, getting equipped and started. But I would just say, one of the things that really helped me is asking this question. In 10 years, when I'm looking at myself in 10 years, what am I going to be so thankful that I did today? Okay. And so for me, realizing there's no quick fixes sometimes or easy ways to build something that are really worth building. So if I start today, in 10 years, I'm going to be so thankful I did. But you never feel ready, Steve. I didn't feel ready to marry my wife. I had no idea I never felt ready to be a parent. Now I got 4 kids. The doctor just kept handing them to me, like, go home with the baby. I'm like, I haven't taken a class for this. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Steve, the power of committing to something and then learning how to do it along the way. If you try to say, I'm going to learn, and then start, you'll never start. You have to start. You have to commit. And somehow that triggers the ability to say, now I'm in it, and I'm going to learn this thing. So, that's kind of how I started a church. I started a church and had taken 2 seminary classes. So, I just want you to know, that is for some of the, and I would also say this, Steve, what I love about real estate is you can get involved in so many different entryways. So, working with guys like you could be an investor and kind of evaluate the deal, and still be a part of it and just participate and take advantage of all of the benefits of real estate without having to deal with some of the complexities of putting the deals together. Otherwise, you can just get into it at other levels. Hey, I just want to start with one rental property like I did and just start to learn cash flow, financing, management, maintenance, leases, tenants, just learning one little thing after another. So that's what things I love about real estate is you can get involved in it with a partner. You can have a mentor. There's lots of ways to get in the game.
And the big thing about real estate, it is a team sport.
Yes.
It is a team sport. And over the years, you will meet new people, new friends. And it is, I consider it a pay it forward
Come on.
business. People always wants to help you. They want to teach somebody new in the business.
Yeah.
And the other thing I hear, Chris, is that people say, I wish I knew about this 20 years ago. So everybody out there that's in the position, start. And you've heard Chris just say, go.
Yes.
Get whatever that is, start building your wealth.
Yep.
And forget buying those things that are expenses, not wealth building. Yep. And Chris, you've been having fun, it sounds like.
Oh man, it is fun. I don't know what you guys do, Steve, but one of the things I do with my family is me and my wife at the end of the year, because real estate is exactly what you said, a team sport. So I just want to say, part of the reason I'm on this podcast and getting to hang out with Jake today is because we have this weird love and enthusiasm around real estate. And it's awesome. I mean, you guys are Christian guys trying to serve the Lord. You love your families, and you also like building things that bless other people. So it does put you in spaces with both just amazing people that become friends because you have this shared interest. And it's not just a transactional thing, we're in this thing now long term because there's some investments that have been made. So I would say that. And then one of the things my wife and I were going to do, Steve, as you said, celebrate and have fun, is if you start, okay, it's so important. I don't know about you guys, but we pull away, me and my wife and this other partner and his wife, we pull away every year. We have a super awesome dinner. And of course we expense it, but you know what? We celebrate, and we literally
Amen.
Numbers. We pull out the numbers and said, hey, this is what happened with appreciation. Hey, this is how we paid down debt. Hey, we just cash flowed. Hey, how are we going to, now we got this money in the bank. What do we want to buy so that we can actually keep this thing going? You know how awesome that is? That is awesome.
And your wealth is increasing every year.
Yes.
That passive income is working for you.
Yes.
And you're not having to worry about the next paycheck to do something. Yep. Your assets are creating your wealth, and you can just keep on going.
Yeah. It's just a fun time because you can get worn down. Some tenant leaves a bad review, something happens, but those little things, I don't know about you, but anything you're doing, I would just say, hey, you got to celebrate milestones along the way. Celebrate the milestones along the way. And so I just always try to look my partners in the eyes and people like you and just say, thank you. Hey, we're doing this thing together. Thank you. Our hands are to the plow. We're building something. Thank you. And let's celebrate this. Like, we're still alive. We're doing this thing. It's growing. Like, let's eat a steak and have a glass of wine and celebrate the goodness of God right here, So
amen, brother.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Chris, we often talk about the power of real estate, and oftentimes we're referring to passive income, appreciation of the asset, the tax benefits. But you're a high impact guy, a guy who considers purpose in just about everything he does. What sort of impact have you seen that real estate has had in your life personally, you and your family? But I would say probably more importantly, impact in the life of those around you.
That's it. So there's multiple reasons to get involved in real estate, but especially if you're a person of faith, you're always asking the question of my purpose can't just be more. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. I've got to have something bigger than more. And we all know life is temporary and fleeting and fast. And so, for me, one of the questions, once you have something built, like for me, vacation rental properties, there's a number of young staff that get married. They're interns. They're giving their life away for very little. offering it to them and say, hey, take your honeymoon, take it for a weekend, use it. Okay. And you start to say, this is not just a trophy. Okay. This is a tool that I can use to bless people. And
That's good.
and so how do I start to not just think about real estate and how do I increase my living standard or standard of living, but my giving capacity? And so just giving stuff away, giving that opportunity away to people. And then the other thing is, like, for us uniquely, it's just produced. One of the things that really happened is we had an opportunity to sit with a lady we love, and she's 70 plus, and rents are going up, and she's trying to figure out, okay, my standard of living is here. Rents are going up in my little apartment complex. I've had to downsize from a 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom. You can just see she's getting squeezed. And so one of the cool things that happened is just at dinner, we just felt like we need to tell her we love her. She doesn't have a lot. She's given her life away. And we just said, how about this? Why don't you go find a house that you want? Go find a single family home. We're going to buy it. And whatever you're paying rent right now, that's what you're going to pay for the rest of your life. We're never going to raise your rent. We're never going to whatever maintenance comes up, we're paying the maintenance. Whatever bills emerge, it's on us. And, we couldn't have done that. We could not have done that, 10 years ago. But now, because there's this thing that's funding itself, it gets really, really fun to be purpose driven on this. Right. And for me and my kids, like, my kids go over to that lady's house. Like, we have dinner there. We celebrate that that's part of what we do as a family. We're going to be a generous family with whatever God's entrusted us with. We're going to use it not just to bless our home, but to bless other people's homes. And, we're kind of under the mandate of people of faith to take care of orphans and widows. And so I'm like, hey, I can't do it for everybody, but if I can do it for a couple, like, let's do it, And so that's been part of the purpose. Does it make any sense?
So good.
Yeah.
And you ask God with the phrase of, God, put me in, coach. I want to play. I want to use what you've given us for other people's blessings. How can I use that? Well done. That was awesome. Well done.
Yeah. So those are, you get it, man. It's just fun when you can see the power of real estate, not just at the end of the year where you're doing the math and you're seeing it, but you're looking at people and you're like, man, that was really cool. We celebrate that we got to give away so many weekends, and people were having things go on and retreats. And I'm in Steve's barn right now, so he knows this life. Like, he's giving stuff away. Like, he knows that life. I'm literally in this brother's backyard right now. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. For anybody who watches the show regularly, you'll notice the backdrop behind Chris is where Steve usually sits.
Yes,
so little role reversal there. Chris, I want to circle back to something you said, because we kind of glossed over it, but there's so much power in it. You talked about how you found a partner who was willing to go in with you. And I think that's something that holds people. I know for me, getting in real estate, that held me up, is that I thought I had to be the one who had all the capital and knowledge to get the ball rolling, so to speak. And we often think about and talk about that most people don't have because they don't ask.
Yep.
And so can you kind of walk through, how did you choose that person, but then how did you approach them in partnering with you?
Yeah. So part of it is just being self-aware of, like, what am I uniquely good at and what am I not good at? Does it make any sense? And so for me, I'm a risk taker. I'm a starter. I'm not intimidated by calculated risk. I mean, I'm going to work numbers, but my optimism is go. Does it make any sense? I don't live in a scarcity mentality. And so, and that's good, but also crazy, because sometimes I do that with my time and I get a little overcommitted. So, so for me, I wanted a partner that was similar in age so we could build it together. I wanted a partner who shared some values, so there was integrity. And I wanted a partner that was just good at math. Can I just say that? Like, just let's work the numbers. So I found a CPA, a guy that shared my faith and values, similar age. And I said, hey, bro, I am not afraid of hiring people. I can find the talent, find the local managers. I think my wife and I could probably help check people in and out and do some of that. But I just want to make sure our books are good. I want to make sure all this stuff is really built in the right way with LLCs. And so I just asked him, hey, would you come? And would our knowledge base kind of link up, our unique skill set? And, he didn't have endless capital, but he was about the same where I was. And we both had a desire to start investing. And so luckily that was the start of it. And he put his, equal 50-50 partners, and we put it together, and we find our defined roles. What are you going to uniquely contribute? So there's no bitterness or frustration. And the roles have really worked out. And I think everybody has won. And you look back and you say, hey, this has kept us as friends. I mean, I've been a part of this dude's, seeing him have kids and walking with him in his marriage, and just, all and celebrating his promotions at work, just all the stuff. Right. And so it's kept us in friendship for, almost a decade now. And, but the other thing is we kept going upstream to ask people how to do this. So, he would make phone calls to people like real estate agents in that market, or people who had built from, a couple rentals into multifamily. How do you make those transitions? I would call people like Steve and others saying, hey, help me walk through what would my next step would be. And so that's been really, really fun too. It's like you said, you got to ask somebody for help. You got to ask a banker to take a risk on you. You got to ask a partner to go in with you. You got to ask a mentor to share some knowledge with you. Don't be afraid to talk to a lawyer. For me, just saying, hey, how do I structure this? You've done this a million times, but to me, it feels foreign. There are some barriers. Let's just keep it real. The barrier is there is a financial language that you have to learn. There is a real estate language that you kind of have to learn. But guys, if I'm telling you, I can barely spell my middle name. And if I can figure it out, I am not in this, I'm very average and ordinary, it's just keep taking that next step and don't be afraid to ask. But again, I think that is such a barrier, Jake. Don't you? Don't you see that as a barrier? Like,
Yeah.
People say, I wish I would have started, but what holds them back is this, where do I even start? Who do I even ask for help? And even if you identify those people, the courage to look humble and just say, I need help learning, So yeah, you guys got any encouragement on that too? Because I feel like we've got the best kept secret in the world here, and we're trying to invite people into it,
It's that fear factor people have, and they'll sit in a spot and kind of fret about it. Just take that first step. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. You learn the journey. You're learning and you're learning. Chris, after you did your first deal, did you learn everything about real estate?
No, absolutely not.
It's a continual process. I'm learning every day something new, and that's half the fun.
Yeah.
And in my age, I got to keep building neurons, so I got to learn something new. So
come on, man.
It's all good.
Yeah, I think it's like when I think back in times that I've not taken the first step, which is funny because that's what this podcast is about, heading west. Take your first step. You learn on the journey. You don't learn standing still. More dreams and businesses are crushed by inactivity rather than bad activity.
Come on.
And so I think back to the times where I didn't move, and it was laziness, it was fear, it was pride, and a lot of those things could have just been mitigated simply by moving and asking for help. If I look back at the things that have gone really well in my life, almost all of them started with asking somebody for advice, asking for help, asking for a direction, whatever the case may be. Because in a lot of ways, people realize that, I got where I'm at because someone else helped me. It's this cyclical thing of giving what you've been given.
Yep.
It's the same thing with what we talk about with our money, with the things that God's given us as stewardships, whether it's my talent. Like, you're a great speaker and you can use that for certain things. I am great at calculating numbers. I can use that for certain things. And we each have our own responsibilities and roles, kind of like your partnership with your CPA buddy. And you do them to the glory of God, and you continue to pass it on to everybody who asks.
Come on, man.
And just do it.
Yeah, agree. And I love that you guys said that. Even recently with you guys starting this thing up. First of all, I love what you guys are doing. I just want to say it's so awesome to see the team that you guys are building, the culture that you're building, the way that you're helping invite other people into this. I know personal people that have kind of invested already in this thing, and they're so excited about it. They're taking that first step, and you can see their little brains like, oh my gosh, wait a second, I might not have to pay that many taxes. Yeah, it's awesome, And so it's so fun that you guys are building this thing. I think people are going to be so excited and personally blessed by it. And just that action though, like I saw the emails coming through about a couple of the deals that Steve was putting together. And I got to be honest, there was like, I don't know, should I call him? And I know Steve, and I still pause. I'm like, this can't be right. These numbers look really good. Maybe this is wrong. Finally, I said, you know what? I'm going to call the man. I don't care what happens. And so I pick up the phone and I say, Steve, I'm late to the game. I should have emailed you 2 weeks ago. This is an awesome deal. I'm late to the party. Can I get in this deal still? And he said, absolutely not. Learn your lesson. You should have called me a week ago. You're dead to me. And he hung up. No, he didn't do that.
That's not true. That's not true.
He didn't do that at all. Awesome. So, but all that to say, Jake, is I'm preaching to people to pick up the phone, take this first step. But I want to be honest. I saw an incredible opportunity with Steve, and I paused too. And it was a little foreign, the way, syndication versus just owning my own. And so it was a little different. And so I paused too. So all that to say is I understand it. But yet I'm still so thankful that, people are so gracious, pick up the phone. And you're awesome, Steve. So thank you for your grace, man. You've been such a big, just incredible friend and mentor in that grace to let me in on that. So.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. The big thing with Skyline Point Capital is we want, Chris, and you already know this, but we want to buy properties we want to own. They're just bigger than if we could own them by ourselves. So We want to get friends and family that think like this and want to invest as partners together. We're all owning this thing. And I only want to own properties that help the Nabity family and help other people. And I want to be proud of owning it. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're in this together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty fun, man. And what are you guys getting most excited about? Are you guys, what has been the reception, Steve? Let me ask that of what's been the reception for you as you reach out to people and they start to hear about what's being built, and have people been excited? Can you see them kind of taking that first step? So many people trust you. You've built such great equity across the city and in the business world for years.
And, Chris, thank you for those comments. I don't take that lightly. And that's one of the things. I'm 66 and I love the real estate side. And I want to finish strong in life with Christ. I want to finish strong. And from that standpoint, the reception has been phenomenal. Yeah. We've got people in all our deals that we've done, and they bring their friends and they tell their family members. And then, hey, I have my sister, I have my brother. Can you get them in the next deal? And that it just keeps on going. The thing with us is that I want to be a risk averse real estate investor. I don't want to be over the skis. I want a great deal that everybody can own. We can build our generational wealth and bless others. At the same time, don't take unnecessary risk. Yeah. Now, that may mean that there's deals that other people do that I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to do them. So we are choosy with what we do. And we've got some things that are coming. There'll be a surprise. But it's been so much fun. And I wish I would have done this at 20, 25 years earlier.
Yeah.
I'm telling everybody, if you've got the opportunity to take that next step, don't wait till you think you have to have all the I's dotted and T's crossed. Just start getting into real estate and you will learn like what Chris has done.
Yeah.
Just learn on every deal and you become smarter on the next one.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
get in the game. Ted West.
Come on, man.
Yeah. All right. I think that's a great place to pivot. So Chris, I don't think I told you about this, but we always end our time together with a rapid fire question round. So we've got 7 questions, super simple. And it's just for people to get to know you a little better. So I'm gonna go through them. Number 1, do you have any daily rituals that you swear by?
Woo! Oh, thank you. So this is awesome. They're weird. Okay. So before I go to bed, I try to say thank you to Jesus for one thing that went well. And number 2, I try to stretch out my body and touch my toes every day. Just stretch out.
37 years.
Stretch
I still
out,
have never
bro.
done that.
Stay limber.
Being real.
Come on.
Yeah. I can't touch my toes. 37 years in, still can't. All right, number 2. What's one item you could not live without?
Ooh. Well, this is easy for me. My Bible would be my first one. Yeah, I could go on for a long time because, I'm a preacher on that one, but I'll go there.
Yeah.
But I will also say common grace. I love coffee. Can I just say that? It would be a sadder world without coffee in my life. And that partly because I have 4 kids and in real estate and do a church thing. And so I try to stay caffeinated. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think you got some espresso running through your veins at all times. All right. What's one business you wish you could go back and start or invest in?
Ooh. Wow. Okay. Wow. Well, I love real estate. I, first of all, feel like I hit the jackpot personally just because I'm passionate about what I get to do with the church and telling people about what God has done. Love real estate. Oh man, there's so many businesses. One, I wish I would have just invested in Amazon. Can we just keep it real? That kind of took off. Started off as a book business that I thought was for nerdy people.
Who saw that coming?
What are you doing trying to sell books on the internet? I should have invested in that. But I've seen a couple of different businesses, even like routes. I know this sounds really weird, but you can buy FedEx shipping routes and scale those across multiple zip codes. And so anyways, I was kind of interested in that business model. One of my friends who played in NFL has retired and bought a number of different trucking routes, and he's doing really well with it. So, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, what's one piece of real estate advice you'd give to other people?
Ooh, don't hesitate to ask other people for help, and try to be honest and be grateful with the people that you're doing stuff with, so you can keep doing stuff with them.
What's one thing in life, business, or real estate that you're really excited about?
Life, business. What'd you say? Say that again.
Or real estate that you're really excited about?
Well, in life, I got to be honest with you. I have 4 kids. Basketball season's coming up, and I love my kids' basketball. And so I am a spirit-filled Christian, but I get a little rowdy in those youth gyms. And so I'm just going to keep it real with you. I love coaching my kids' basketball team, so I'm very excited about that. And obviously with church stuff, it's the fall. People are coming back. The room is full. College kids are there. It's an absolute blast. And then with real estate, I think we're in a place where we get to start participating in more commercial-based deals and not one-off rentals that are awesome to learn, but more challenging to scale. So those are things.
In what situations do you find you're most happy or fulfilled?
In what aspects?
In what situations in life do you find you're the most happy?
When I do things with other people and we make progress. And then number 2, or the second discipline is just always being grateful for whatever it is, even if it's hard. I just take this I've been already given way more than I deserve. That's just true in the Bible, and that's not just optimistic thinking. So even if it's hard, I've just come to learn that some of the most painful things in my life were the very things that God used to shape and form me. So even if it's a little hot in the fire right now, he's refining, he's burning things away, he's shaping and he's forming. And so I trust it. And so, I don't wait for just the ease of life to come. I try to just recognize that even the pain is purposeful.
So good. All right. Last but not least, as you head west, where do you hope to end up?
Yeah, I have a vision for my life. I think a lot like Steve. And it is partly financial. I want to, part of my story is my dad left and didn't stay. So I want to be a faithful husband and father. And part of my story is my dad didn't leave me anything. And I want to be a blessing to my children. And so if I can leave this world having followed Jesus, loved my wife until my final day, and left my kids a model to follow in righteousness and a blessing to get them started, I will be extraordinarily thankful for that.
Amen.
I don't know if there's a better way to end this than that.
Come on.
Chris, where can people find you? Where can they get in contact with you? What do you want to leave them with?
Yeah, I'm on all social media stuff, so you can find me anywhere there. Get the joy and privilege of being a pastor in Omaha, Nebraska. So if you're here, stop on by. And if you want to talk Jesus, family, marriage, ministry, finance, real estate. My life is open to people who got this podcast. And so I'd love to make myself available to them.
Yeah. Check him
Chris,
out.
Chris, what's the website for Citylight Church?
www.citylightomaha.org. So you can just, you'll find it there.
Some great sermons there. Well, Chris, that was amazing. Had so much fun with you. Thanks for joining us today.
This was awesome. Thank you,
Chris,
guys. Keep building awesome stuff, and let's head west together. Let's do it.
Amen. Hey, and thanks for being real.
Yeah,
that
man.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Steve.